I was writing books, and much to my surprise, when my publisher shared with me that my books were being written by the business community much more than the Christian community. I was totally surprised. I had no idea. I was shocked beyond belief. And at that moment, I felt called to go and as my mission field, the secular community. It was at that moment that I knew that I would not pastor much longer, that I would have to spend the rest of my life basically with lost people. And so I began to ask myself, how do I connect with these people? How do I influence these people? And I realized the only way to influence them people and grow in influence, strength them, is to add value to them, help them grow their business, help them grow leaders, help them develop. And so I put 100% into helping people, serving people, adding value, making a difference in their lives. Not much witnessing, not sharing their faith. In fact, in that community, you just added value, until my influence got to the place where I could now begin to talk about my faith. Don't miss this. We increase our influence with people by serving them and adding value where they are, no strings attached. The fruit produced by the Holy Spirit within you is divine love in all of its varied expressions. Now, this is a picture here of an attractive person. This is a picture of a person that people want to be around. If you have joy that overflows, if you have peace that subdues, if you have patience that endures, if you have kindness in your actions, faith that prevails, gentleness of heart, strength of spirit, that's a pretty attractive person. I kind of want to hang around with them, don't you? That's the fruit of the Spirit that's within us. Now, I don't have time to get into it tonight, but just understand and get the book. Look at this last verse. Never set the law above these qualities, for they are meant, what are they? These qualities are meant to be limitless. And when you put the law more important than the values, you diminish the values. I have no time tonight to talk about how we have missed it in America because we've lost our way with values. And we think that legislation will make a difference in people's lives. If the law makes such a difference in people's life, we didn't need the New Testament nor Jesus. Yeah, I'm waiting. We lost our way when the laws of the country became more important than the values in a person's life. Trust me. And we won't find our way till we go back to values. Go back with me for a moment to 2001. I get a call from Time Warner, that's my publisher. They asked me to come to New York City for an evening. I went to New York City, we're having a long dinner, and Time Warner asked me, they said, John, because of Enron, remember Enron? Remember all the corporate scandals? Remember all the deviousness and the deceit of companies in America? And so we're having a dinner, and they said, John, we've looked at all of our authors, and we want somebody to write a book on business ethics, and we picked you. Would you write a book on business ethics for us? And I looked at him and I said, I can't do that. And they said, well, why not? I said, well, there's no such thing as business ethics. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And they went back to all the, no, I got all of it. I got Enron, I got this, I got the picture. There's no such thing as business ethics. There's just ethics. They said, well, would you write a book on ethics? I said, well, I'll try. I'm not sure I can. In a culture that has no absolutes, that's not an easy thing to do. And so I began to ask myself, how will I write a book on ethics? And after about a month working with my writing team and all of our creative people, we came up with an amazing thought that I believe God gave us, and that is, teach the golden rule. Treat others as you would like to be treated. The golden rule is in every culture and every religion in the world. That's a value. And we began to go down the values path, and it was life-changing for me because all of a sudden I realized Enron will never be straightened out, or anyone else will never be straightened out because there's a law on the books. Let me tell you something. If you lack values, you will figure a way to get around the law. Again, it's not an outside issue. It's an inside issue. And the moment that we went that way, we began to understand. And so, do you remember when you were in school and the teacher was going to ask you a question and was talking to the class and you didn't know the answer? Now perhaps you weren't like me, but there were many times I didn't know the answer because I wasn't the best student in the class. But I was the most fun student in the class. I was the most popular student in the class. I wasn't the best. No. And when the teacher had a question I didn't know, I basically would do this. Let me ask you, how many of you ever hid from the teacher? Okay, I see some soulmates out there. You weren't that good of a student either, were you? Huh? You see, I didn't want him to call on me. I didn't want him to call on me because I didn't know the answer. And there were times when I did know the answer, but I didn't think they were going to call on me and they were going to call on somebody else, and so I decided to fake it. And I thought, I don't know the answer, but I'll act like I know the answer, and so I would put my hand up like this. And then there were times I knew the answer. And I not only knew the answer, I wanted the teacher to know that I know the answer, and I wanted all the classmates to know that I know the answer. I want everybody to know that I know the answer. And when I really knew the answer, my hand went up. When it comes to transformation and changing your world and values, I know the answer. I know the answer. In fact, the reason I'm so passionate about it is I know the answer because I've done it now for 25 years with millions of people, and it works. And I wish you could be with me. I wish you could be with me when teachers who've been using our values curriculum in their public schools have talked about the change in their students' life. In 3 weeks, they say they can see the change in their students after. And by the way, we have 5 million kids in public schools with our values training, and we've done it international, and we're getting ready to bring it to America. And every time I say that, somebody says, well, you'll never get the government to approve. My folks looking at me, listen to me, my name is John. I don't care. The education system is so broken down, it's so hurting. They're starting to look for other answers because they don't have the answer. I'm not one bit concerned. We'll take one school at a time. We'll take one neighborhood at a time. We'll take one community at a time. We will take it and we will move in that direction. And what thrills me, and I don't want to get us too involved, what thrills me is Todd and Julie and I were talking a little bit earlier. He said, John, I want us to do some of this in our congregation, and we're going to get together. We're going to talk. And I don't want to get ahead of you. I don't want to get ahead of you, Todd, but I want to tell you something. This year could be the greatest year in the history of this church, because when you start teaching people in small groups about values, that is preconditional, and that sets up evangelism. It's when people begin to embrace good values, the next thing they are ready to do is hear the good news. But you start with values. And in fact, I went home, after the service, I went home for an hour and came back. And by the way, I went and took my walk so I could teach my values lesson today for you people to go online and start walking with me virtually. But I grabbed Margaret. I said, "Oh, Margaret, we don't have much time." But I told her what Todd and Julie said, and I said, "I really believe that we could really see something huge happen in our congregation, our church." And I'm just so excited. I'm just overwhelmed because I tell you, I will give my life for this. I will give my life for this because I see lives being changed. And let me tell you something. I don't have to win every day of my life, but I got to do the right thing every day of my life. And I got to stand for the right values every day of my life.